If you're publishing on Amazon KDP and you're publishing low content books, so these are books like coloring books, journals, notepads, things like that, then you need to watch this video because Amazon KDP is changing, especially for low content publishers. And you need to be aware of these changes happening. I mean, they're even like cutting down your royalties. So like Amazon came up with something where it's like, if your book is under $9.99, you're going to receive less royalties. You're going to receive 50% royalties instead of 60%. So they're cutting down on low content publishers' royalties as well. So there's changes that you need to make to your business if you're publishing low content books. If you don't make these changes, you're going to get wiped out. It's going to be very, very hard for you to succeed with KDP. Not impossible. I'm not here to unmotivate anyone, but it's going to be much harder for you to be successful if you don't apply these changes to your current low content books. Who am I and what do I know about low content books? Well, to be honest with you, I had a KDP business quite a while ago, which I later on sold. And when I sold that business, basically 90% of my books that were making money were high content. Now, the reason they were high content is just because, I mean, that's what was making me money anyway. So I was just publishing a bunch of high content books. I still had some low content books, but it was mostly high content. High content made up around like 90% of my books. And then with this business, I eventually sold it at a six-figure valuation. So let's just put 100K here. I think it was like 110, 103, something like that. Quite a while ago, to be honest, so I don't quite remember. But I have screenshots. If you go to the website, you can see screenshots. And basically, most of the money came from high content. Now, here's the thing. I had a friend, okay, and he was publishing low content books. He was publishing like coloring books. And I think he had like maybe 2 or 3 coloring books. And he made 10K. I'm just going to put K here. He made 10K in December just with coloring books. Now, here's the thing. I felt like an idiot. Do you know why? If you try to publish high content books, it's going to take you like 2 months just for the writing because you need someone to write 30,000 words to 60,000 words for you. So me, like an idiot, would hire ghostwriters for over $1,000. And then these ghostwriters it would take them like 2 months to actually write a 30,000 word book. Now, obviously, this is quite a bit of money, especially back then because I was broke as well. I didn't know anything about KDP back then. I was still broke. I was just testing and then just praying to God that everything's going to work. Obviously, eventually everything did work. So thank you, God. But I used to spend like $1,000. It would take me 2 months to write the book. And then this guy over here would make the book in like 7 days. It's just a bunch of illustrations in a coloring page. It would take him 7 days, make the book, and then he made 10K in December. I think he was making like 2 to 3K recurring or steadily, I would say. But it's 2 to 3K steadily every single month. Why? Because it's just, I don't know, his coloring books were good. So I got jealous and I'm thinking, well, why am I spending 2 months making a book when I can just make a coloring book and make the same amount of money? It takes me less time so I can make more books, all the things that all the low content people will talk about. You probably have these ideas as well. Like if you make more books, then you can make more money. You don't need high content because if it takes you 2 months to make high content, you can do low content. You can do like 10 books in 2 months. And then you have a higher chance of making money and things like that. I get it. I used to be there as well. Now, here's the thing. I got jealous, so I started publishing low content books. So I sold my business. I had a bunch of money sitting down. What am I going to do with this money? I'm an idiot. I don't know how to spend this money. Nothing was really desirable for me. Like I wanted a car, but like again, it's just, I didn't want to spend like 40K on a car. It's just a piece of metal, you know? So it's like, okay, well, I have a little bit of money. Let's make some money. So what did I end up doing? I started making low content books and I had a bunch of them. And by the way, I understood back then that quality matters, right? If quality matters, guess where I spent my money? I spent my money on high quality illustrators for my current books. I spent my money for high quality book cover designers. I spent a lot of money just on low content books. I remember one book, I spent like 1,100 just for the illustrations inside for a coloring book. Back then, I didn't understand the maths behind business, but I still did it because I was like, if my book is high quality and I'm willing to spend $1,000 on that low content book, no one else is willing to spend $1,000 on a low content book. I'm a G. That's what I felt like because no one would be able to compete with me. And by the way, the illustrations were super, super nice. And there was no AI back then either. So I had to purchase in some way someone to do the illustrations for me. I had to hire someone. And I published a bunch of books. Some of the coloring books, I did them myself. Like I literally got the pen tool from Photoshop. If you use Photoshop, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But if you're using the pen tool, I used to use the pen tool on Photoshop and then manually trace some things so I could make coloring pages. And I also hired people. I did many different ways. I just wanted to make as many low content books as possible. So eventually a few of them hit. And that's exactly what I did. Now here's the thing. After months of publishing, I published loads of books. I've probably published like 15 or 25 different low content books. I ran ads. I did all the optimizations. I did everything as best as I could. And here's the thing. I did not make any money. In fact, I actually lost a bunch of money. I lost so much money. There was 1 month where I lost around 3K. So I lost around 3K on low content books. Now, by the way, I'm not here to discourage you. I'm just here to give you my experience. This is my experience with low content books. This is experience from a guy that's already sold his business. I'm not just a random guy that's like making a random book on KDP and documenting his journey. I sold the business and then I was like, okay, let me do low content, and I'm losing 3K. So obviously what was working for high content wasn't working for low content. And I was just trying to figure it out. I was like, why? Why is it not working? I was publishing for 9 months to a year. That's what I remember. 9 months to 12 months. Now, during this time, I was super depressed. Now, the reason I was depressed is because I started working at a hotel for like $3.75 an hour. And then I eventually put all that money into KDP, brought the KDP business up to like 2.5K. And then from the 2.5K, sold that business at a 6-figure valuation. And then after selling that business, I started making lower quality books, or like easier books, less time consuming books. So I'm thinking, I'm a G, I know what I'm doing. And eventually I was just losing a bunch of money every single month. Why? What was the problem? How come me? I thought I knew what I was doing. And turns out I didn't. And I was just losing money for 12 months. I was so sad, man. I was so depressed. Of course I was. I'm just losing money. You think you know something, but then you realize you don't know anything. After I went through my little depression phase, and just like a bunch of money losing phase, I tested a bunch of things. I tested a bunch of things with ads. I tested a bunch of things with book covers and everything. And then I figured out some very, very important problems that you're probably facing as well if you're a low content publisher. Because these are the same problems that I face as well and was holding me back from success with low content books. The first problem is super, super important. Let me just quickly take this away. Now, I know that's a little ramble before I even like tell you the problem, but you need to understand the backstory, because then you're going to be thinking like, oh, well, who is this guy on the internet? You get me, with his robe talking about low content. Okay, so let's say this is your low content book, right? This is your coloring book, and you're pricing it at $7.99. Now, I know Amazon increased or like decreased their royalties if you're $9.99 or under and things like that. So let's just pretend that your book is $7.99. It might have to be $8.99 if your page count, blah, 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 all of those things. I hope you understand. Right now, you might not even be able to publish a low content book at $7.99. $8.99 might be your minimum. But at $7.99, you're probably not making any money. But here's the thing. When you publish a low content book, the first thing you need, maybe not the first thing, but one of the most important things you need is social proof. Now, I'm not even going to go into it. I'm pretty sure you know what social proof is. Super simple. It's just reviews. You need reviews. Why? Why do you need reviews? Well, what was the last book that you bought on Amazon with no reviews? Probably never bought a book on Amazon with no reviews. What about a product? Probably never even bought a product without reviews. Why? Well, why would you trust something that no one else has ever bought it? Humans are like sheep. They want to follow the crowd. And they're also very insecure. By the way, when I say humans, I'm also talking about myself. I'm not saying you guys are sheep and you guys are insecure. I am insecure as well. I'm not going to buy anything on Amazon if there's no reviews. No way. I'm not going to be the first person to buy a random book. How do I know that the book is going to be good? Same applies with you. You're probably never going to buy something with no reviews unless there's other forms of social proof beforehand. So if you know Gordon Ramsay, for example, and he's your favorite, I was going to say magician, but let's say you love Gordon Ramsay and he's your favorite cook. If he releases a new book and there's no reviews, you'll still probably buy it because you already have the social proof of Gordon Ramsay. You already know Gordon Ramsay. But if you don't know anything about the author, don't know anything about the book, and that book is just brand new on Amazon, no reviews, no one's going to buy it. So when people come and tell me, or if you come and tell me, hey, Barry, should I run ads with no reviews? Should I do anything with no reviews? No one's going to buy a book with no reviews. Running ads is just pushing more people to the book. Why would you want to push more people to something that no one wants to buy? Because you haven't built a social proof. So reviews, extremely, extremely important. Now, here's the thing. If you have a low content book, how do you get reviews for a low content book? Well, there's only 2 types of reviews that you can get. The first review is a verified review, and the other one is an unverified. What is the difference? Unverified means someone put a review on your book on Amazon, but Amazon hasn't confirmed that they bought it from Amazon. So they might have went to Walmart, bought your coloring book from Walmart, or maybe they never bought your coloring book in the first place, and then they just left a review on Amazon. Now, the verified one, this is the most powerful one. Amazon tracks the person that bought the book on Amazon and then left a review on Amazon. So verified just means someone bought it on Amazon and then left a review. These ones are more powerful. Well, that's what Amazon says anyway. I don't know if Amazon says it, but it's like in the KDP business world, verified reviews are just more powerful. They're going to help you rank higher. It's more trustworthy as well. If you see 100 unverified reviews or 100 verified reviews, you trust these ones because those people actually bought it on Amazon. Now, here's the thing. Verified reviews, if you want to get verified reviews, or when I wanted to get verified reviews for my coloring book on Amazon, the problem I ran into was I needed to convince people to buy this book for $7.99 to leave a review. So I had to convince people to buy something for $8, wait for it to come to their house, and then leave a review on Amazon so I can get a verified review. This is kind of expensive. And also, if you don't live in America or the UK and you don't have next day delivery and things like that, it can also be time consuming. You might not be able to read consuming, it's okay. You know it says consuming because I said it, so I think it's fine. But it's expensive and time consuming. Also, some people might have an ARC team. If you don't know what an ARC team is, that's an advanced reader copy team. So these guys get a book from you, and then they leave a review. If you give out free books, let's say you have an email list of like 30 people and they already know your book is coming out, and then you can contact them through email, or you can do it through Instagram and social media, whatever. As long as you have a group of people in one place that you can contact and say, hey, my book is out. You guys should go get the book. Doesn't matter where this place is, whether it's email, Facebook, whether it's Instagram, whether it's whatever other social medias are out there, whatever way you want to promote your book, you can do that. But you might have a group of people that are already ready to leave a review on your book. Now you have to give them the book first. So either they have two options. They're going to buy your book for $8, or you're going to give it for free, but you're going to get an unverified review. And these are usually much easier for Amazon to delete as well, because Amazon sometimes deletes your reviews every year. I think they just go in. Again, I'm not 100% sure about this, but from what I've seen, it's like every year, I think twice a year, Amazon goes in and just tries to eliminate all the reviews that seem fake. So they literally just go in and there's like a review sweep in a way. I don't know. I guess so. If your reviews are unverified, they're more likely to get swept. Swept, is that even the correct English? I hope so. But anyway, that's the problem I used to face. Now here's the thing. I didn't have many friends. I had like 10 friends maybe. Actually, that is quite a lot of friends. So I had 10 friends, and what I had to do was convince my 10 friends to actually buy the book, wait for it to come, for me to get the reviews, and I would only get like 10 reviews. Now, if I wanted to get 100 reviews, that becomes a lot harder. That was one of the things that was holding me back, and it's one of the reasons why I was losing a bunch of money. And it might be a reason why your book is not performing as best as it possibly could, because you're limited by how to get reviews. This was one of the biggest problems. Now, I also have a bonus problem to share. I'm not going to share it right now because I want to talk about something else before I share that bonus problem. But let me just move on, and then just remind me to come back to this. I really hope I don't forget to come back to this. Actually, you can't remind me, but hopefully you're going to be aware now. Like when I do come back to it, you'll know, oh yeah, he's talking about the bonus pass. By the way, I'm like Ollie, I love Ollie, but he just messes up the board so much, you know? He makes it all black. It's not all that great. But anyway, let's put Ollie, let's draw him a little house or something as well. Look at that, that's awesome. Now, reviews was one of the biggest problems, but there was also a second very, very big problem. Super massive problem. If let's say we do a book at $9.99. So this is what I realized as well. I was selling a book at $9.99, which means I was making around $3 in royalty. Let's just say that because it's easy maths. $3 is really not a lot of money, especially for a sale of a book. So what ended up happening is when I was running Amazon ads, let me show you Amazon ads, because this is where I lost most of my money. I would just go in my Amazon ads account, look at my low content books, and I'm like, okay, well, this one lost $50 today. This one lost $100 today. This one lost $20 today. Everything was just losing. Obviously, that's depressing, but I had to go through it to learn what I know today. So I'm grateful to God for everything. But yeah, like the only reason I'm here is so you don't have to go through the same things that I went through. You don't have to go through this and start losing money, because I did it. I did it for you. It's okay. You're welcome. Don't worry about it. But anyway, we're making $3 profit. So let's say we spent $500 on ads for one book. We're only going to talk about one book because it's just much easier to do the maths. We spent $500 on Amazon ads for a low content book. That's giving us $3 back. And let's say we made $250 back. That means our total ACOS is 200%. What's our total ACOS? Total ACOS is basically, well, if you don't know what ACOS is, it means advertising cost of sales. It's basically in simple English, what percentage of money, or like how much money did we spend and how much money did we make back? If we spent 500 and made back 250, 250 is half of 500. So it's 200% higher. We spent double the amount of money than what we made back. So this is what we made back. This is royalties, and this is spent. So we spent double what we made back, which gives us a 200% total ACOS, total advertising cost of sales. So we made 250, but we spent 500. So we spent 200% more than what we made. Great. Now, if we made $250 back in royalties, what does this mean? How many sales did we make? Very simple. We're going to take $3 divided by 250. No, we're going to take 250 divided by $3. And it's going to give us the number. I already did the maths and it's 83, which means we made 83 sales to make $250, but we spent 500. That means we're losing $250 every single month on ads. Why? Because we're making $3 profit margin. So how do we solve this problem? How do we make these ads actually profitable? If you're new, you're probably going to click off the video. That's okay, no problem. I'm not trying to convince anyone to sit and watch me all day. But if you're aware, if you're an experienced publisher or you want to become a better publisher and you want to become more aware of the publishing space and how everything works, you'll probably stick until the end of this video. And I really hope you do, because it could change your life, obviously, if you take action. If you just listen to me, nothing's going to happen. If you take action, great. Things can actually change. How do we solve this? It's very, very simple. And this is what I did, which completely shifted my business. It completely shifted it. It literally did like a 180, or is it a 360? I'm just going to say 180. It literally did a 180. I went from losing $3,000 a month to making $2,000-3,000 a month. Why? Because I did this one thing. Are you ready? I published high content. Now I know what you're saying. Oh, but I thought this was a low content video. It is. I'm telling you my experience. I published a bunch of low content, lost a bunch of money, and then I published high content and I made a bunch of money. Why? I'm going to tell you why. And don't worry. Remember before we talked about the reviews, I'm going to talk about that as well. We got the bonus things as well. Don't worry. We're going to go back to that as well. But check this out. Check out how simple this is. We published the book at $9.99 and we made $3. Well, what would happen if we changed nothing else? Literally nothing else. Oh, change the whiteboard. We did nothing else, but we just published a high content book. So let's say our book was like $16.99. And by the way, I know you're probably giving me a bunch of objections. Just wait until the end. And if you still have objections at the end, comment down below. Do not leave a comment if you haven't watched the entire video. I won't reply to you. If you say anything that I already answered in the video, I won't reply to you. And I reply to every single comment, by the way. If you leave a comment, I am replying to every single one of them. So if we're making a book and it's priced at $16.99 and then we make $7, let's say, profit for every single sale, we change nothing else. Okay, we still spend $500 and we still get 83 sales. Now, by the way, 83 sales at $500, if this is like $1 per click, then this is around 16% conversion rate. Now, if you don't know what conversion rate is, it's the percentage of people that buy after clicking on your book. So 60% conversion rate, really, really good. That means 500 people clicked, 83 bought. 60% of the people that clicked bought. I hope that makes sense. So again, we're not changing anything else. We're not going to change the conversion rate. We're not going to change anything else. We spent 500. We still had a 60% conversion rate, but we just had a high content book. And now we're going to do 83 times 7 because that's our profit margin. We're not making $3 profit, we're making $7 profit. What number do we come up with now? Well, the number is $581. So guess what happened now? Our total ACoS is not 200%, it's actually 86%. So guess what? Now, I did not change anything else. We ran the exact same ads, exact same spend, still $1 cost per click. We still made the same amount of sales, still same conversion rate, everything exactly the same. The only thing that changed is instead of us publishing a book that brings us $3, we published a book that brings us $7. And guess what happens now? We have an 86% total ACoS, which because it's under 100%, that means we're actually making money now. So now, without changing anything, we actually made an extra $81. Why? Because we were smart and we decided to publish a high content book. Now, again, I'm not saying you can't make money with low content. I'm just saying, which one of these would you rather be? Which one obviously seems easier? If you wanted to get this down to 86, then you would have to increase your conversion. You would literally have to double your conversion rate. So your conversion rate would have to be 32%. Have fun getting a 32% conversion rate, especially if you're a beginner as well. Because like everyone who's a beginner is like, oh, let me do low content books. It's harder. You have to make more sales. You have to be better at marketing. You have to have better book cover designs. You have to be a better publisher to make money with low content because there's so many different. No, I'm not going to ramble. I'm not going to go into it because it's a whole different ramble. But anyway, that's what I did. I published high content. Now, let's go back to whatever we talked about before when it comes to reviews. Because here's what happens with reviews when it comes to high content. I'm going to try not to destroy Ollie's house. But check out what happens with reviews. Because just like we said before, oh man. See, Ollie's making it. I'm going to go get another one. I think I have another one over here. There we go. Hopefully this one's better. I think this one's better, but I think we're going to have to say goodbye to Ollie. Sorry, man. I'm gonna have to take Ollie away. He's making the board too black. Let's quickly clean the board. Now, by the way, I'm aware that this video is probably not gonna get a bunch of views because probably half the people are just gonna, well, as soon as they hear high content, they're gonna skip off this because, well, I don't know if it's an ego thing. I don't know if it's just like they really like coloring books. I don't know, but it's okay. I'm not making this video for everyone. I'm making this video only for you if you're ready to hear what I'm about to say, I guess. But if you're still watching this video, great. You're one step closer to actually making a bunch of money on KDP. So well done to you. And because of that, I'm going to show you some really, really cool things right now. Some really cool things that are really going to help you make a lot of money on KDP. Completely free. I'm not even charging for this. I'm just making this for fun. Ready? Let's go. Okay, so reviews. That's what we wanted to talk about. Reviews. Now, we already gathered that if you publish a low content book, so here's the low content book right here. If you publish a low content book, it's going to be around $7.99. And then you need those ARC teams and things like that. You need to get people to buy your book for $7.99 just to have a verified review. Now, when it comes to high content books, check out how awesome this is. Is this the same pen? This feels lighter. No, it's not the same. I'll have the other one in my pocket. Great. There we go. This is the correct one. So high content books. When you publish a high content book, what you can do is you can create an ebook. Why is this so important? You can literally price an ebook at 99 cents. And guess what happens now? Now what happens is when someone goes on Amazon, first of all, this one was expensive. That's what we gathered earlier. Well, this one is super cheap because more people are more inclined to buy something that's 99 cents and leave a review than to spend $8 and leave a review. Now, here's one more thing. Super, super important thing. An ebook is digital, right? So it's instant. I literally pay 99 cents and I have it and I start reading. And guess what? Next day, I can just leave a review. I don't have to wait for delivery. I don't have to wait for it to come to my house. I get that if you're in America, then you can literally get same day delivery or next day delivery, things like that. I'm aware of that. However, this one, I can press 2 buttons. I already have the book. So it's much cheaper. It's 99 cents. And guess what? All the reviews, because it's only 99 cents, it's very easy to find people that will get your book for 99 cents. Even if you have an ARC team and all the things that we talked about earlier, so much easier. And guess what? All these reviews are going to be verified. They're going to be verified. For 99 cents, you can have, so right now, you can have verified reviews for basically $1, or you can have verified reviews for $8. Which one would you pick? Obviously this one. This one is just much more effective. Now guess what? Over here, low content, you can't have an ebook. You're publishing a coloring book. You're publishing a notepad. Activity books, it's a gray area. You can get away with it if you do the correct formatting and things. But coloring books and things like that, you can't have an ebook. So you're forcing people to buy it for $8. Over here, $1, great. Simple ebook. You download it, read a bunch of pages, and then you can leave a review. Now, I know what you're asking, how do I get reviews? Well, it's super simple. There's a bunch of review websites. There's so many different ways to do it. I'm not going to talk about reviews in this video. You can go out there, search book review, gathering websites or things like that. And then there's loads out there. There's loads out there. So many. And then you can just go through it, go on YouTube, find the best one for you. Because everyone has different styles, I guess, or it works different for different people and different marketplaces. If you're in Germany, you might like Book Bounty, for example, might be better for you if you're in Germany or in other countries, because they allow specific marketplace, not placements, but they're allowed to, you can upload your book and just say, hey, only in the German marketplace can you download this book and leave a review for me. You could pick your marketplaces. Now, I'm not here to promote Book Bounty. I'm just saying it's available options out there. There's so many out there, so many book review websites out there. Now, it's very, very simple what they do. It's basically just like, it's a book review website. There's a bunch of authors right here. And then what they end up doing is they put their book on the website. And then there's also you over here. And you put the book on the website. And then one of these guys will pick up your book, leave a review. They'll get credits. And then you would pick up someone else's book. You would read the book and then leave a review. And once you leave a review, you'll get credits. And then once you get those credits, you can exchange those credits in order to upload your book again on the website. So essentially, every time you read someone's book and leave a review, you can upload your book for someone else to read your book and leave a review for you. Now, it's much easier when it's digital and it's 99 cents rather than when it's $8 and you have to wait for delivery and all of that. So hopefully that makes sense. Now, reviews are much, much easier to gather when you're doing high content books. Even this is not good. I think I need to get new erasers. I'm not quite sure, but anyway, we'll get through this video. In the next video, I'll have a new one. Here's the super, super exciting part. Or the very, very valuable part, I guess. Are you ready? This is the most important part, and that's your book launch. So the first 20 to 30 days of your book being published on Amazon, super important, extremely important. Why? What Amazon's actually going to do is it's going to push you higher up the rank so more people could look at your book, because Amazon is trying to gather data. I have another video in the honeymoon period. If you go on the channel, you will find it. Or I'll try, like, if I have time, then I'll try and put it, there'll be an eye thing that popped up over there. It will take you to the honeymoon period video. You can go and see exactly how the honeymoon period works. But essentially, like, the base foundation of the honeymoon period is Amazon pushes you higher in the rankings for the first 20 to 30 days because it wants to gather data as quickly as possible to see if your book is even going to succeed in the first place. It's looking at the data to see if people want to buy your book. Now, what it's going to do is it's going to push you higher up the rankings for more people to see you. Then it's going to calculate out of those people that see you, how many of them actually click on your book. If loads of people click, great. That means there's a higher chance of you selling. If not a lot of people click compared to your competitors in your niche, then it will push you lower down the rankings and it knows that your book publisher is not good, your book is not appropriate. If you're getting a bunch of clicks, then it's going to look at how many sales are you making after people click on your book. If you're getting loads of sales, or if your conversion rate, that's what we talked about earlier, if your conversion rate is like 10%, 15%, 20%, then Amazon's like, oh, loads of people are buying this book. That means it's relevant to what they're searching. Let's push it higher up the rankings. Again, the opposite applies. If your conversion rate is low and that's what you're marketing, so you don't have the reviews or you have very, very few reviews, then it's going to push you lower down the ranking. And that's all happening within the first 20 to 30 days. So if you have a high click-through rate and high conversion rate, you're going to rank higher, you're going to make more sales, Amazon's going to push you further. If you do the opposite with low click-through rate and low conversion rate, Amazon's going to do the opposite. It's going to push you lower and it's going to slowly kill your book. That's the honeymoon period. Well, I like to call it the initiation phase because that's more appropriate, I guess. Honeymoon period is more like a lovey-dovey kind of thing, like a positive thing. This one's more like you better have a good conversion rate the first 30 days. It's like more of an initiation. But anyway, now that we understand the honeymoon period, here's the important part. We know that reviews gives us social proof. The more reviews we have, the better. Great. So here's the thing. What I usually do with my book launch, well, this is exactly what I do with my book launch. When you launch a coloring book, let's say, you have to launch it right here, right? You launch it right here and you have 0 reviews. Actually, I'm going to say this is going to be like the time frame. So this is going to be, let's say, 3 months. And these are going to be the reviews. So here, let's say we're trying to get to 100 reviews. And this is 0 reviews. And this is months. So you publish your book and you're not going to have any reviews. But what's going to happen is over time with your ARC team and whatever ways you have to get reviews for your coloring book, you're going to slowly get reviews, right? And then as your reviews grow, then slowly, let's say in 3 months, you manage to reach 100 reviews. That's usually how it works with coloring books and low content. Now, here's the thing. 1 month down the line, so right here, this is where the honeymoon period ends. So this part right here is one of the most important parts. If you mess up this part and you don't have a lot of reviews on this part, the first 1 month, which is the honeymoon period, then Amazon's going to push you lower down the rankings. It's going to be much harder for you. You're going to have to pay more for ads, a bunch of things. I'm not going to go into it in this video. However, the first month, the first 30 days, super important. However, you publish your book, you start with 0 reviews, and you have to collect reviews as quickly as possible within the first 1 month. If you publish your coloring book, you better do everything in your power to get as many reviews as possible the first 30 days. Otherwise, you're making it very, very hard for yourself to succeed. Now, I'm not saying you need 100 reviews the first month, but you should get as many reviews as possible. Because obviously, I can't tell you an exact number because there's some niches where like all your competitors have like 30 reviews. Well, great. If you have 35, you're the most authoritative coloring book, I guess. But there's other niches where your competitors have like 500 reviews, which is a lot more, and it takes a lot more time. But here's the thing. If you don't get enough reviews and have enough social proof during the first 30 days, you messed up. Now, why is high content so much easier? Well, here's the thing. With high content, what you can do is the following. So the exact same thing, we're going to try to get to 100 reviews, and then we have 3 months. So over here, it might take us 3 months to get to 100 reviews, and we published our book the first 1 month, we might have 30 reviews right here. So we might be able to get a review a day. With high content, here's the thing. The honeymoon period applies to each format separately. Let me say it again. The honeymoon period applies to each format separately. What do I mean? Ebook is one format. We have the ebook, right? And we also have the paperback. Now, here's the best part. Which one is used to gather reviews? Obviously, the ebook. Now, which one is most likely to give us sales? Well, most of the time, it's the paperback. If you want to figure out which format sells the most, search whatever book you're selling, and then look at your competitors and see what pops up on page 1. Whatever's on page 1 is the format that sells the most. You can see the price. If it says paperback, $16.99, then obviously the paperback is making more sales. That's why it's on page 1. If you see Kindle, $10.99 or whatever the price is, then obviously the Kindle is selling more. That's why it's shown on the search results. When you click on it, if you click on the book, which format shows first without you having to change it? I don't know if that makes sense, but I'll put a screen recording so you can see. So here's what we're able to do with the high content book. Right here, what we're going to do is we're going to publish the ebook, right? So we have the ebook, and then this ebook has a honeymoon period, 20 to 30 days. But what we're going to do is we're going to, again, just like this, we're going to slowly gather reviews. and then let's say in 3 months, we got to 100 reviews. Well, great. We've only published the ebook, and the ebook has 100 reviews now. We haven't even published the paperback yet. So now what we can do is publish the paperback. And guess what happens if we publish the paperback like 3 months down the line instead of like right at the start with the ebook? Well, when we publish the paperback, 2 things are going to happen. First thing is the paperback is going to have 100 reviews. Second thing, the paperback is going to start its honeymoon period. So now the first 20 to 30 days of the paperback being published, it already has 100 reviews. So what does that tell Amazon? Later on, when Amazon sees how many people are clicking, how many people are buying, that's going to be super, super high. Why? Because we're going to have hundreds of reviews before we even publish the paperback. We're starting the honeymoon period with hundreds of reviews. And you don't have to wait until 100. You can wait until 80. I had a client, they had 70 reviews. And they did the exact same thing. Published the ebook, got 70 reviews. Then we published the paperback, and that paperback became number 400. It was hovering between number 200 ABSR on Amazon. This is a US marketplace. It was hovering between 200 ABSR and 400 ABSR, which is around 150, 200 copies a day. And that's only in the US. There was other marketplaces that were selling as well. So I'm telling you, these things work. So that's why it's so, so powerful. This is way easier. And then when I discovered this, everything just became way easier. I started off with this because all these gurus were promoting, hey, do low content, do low content. I had my friend doing low content. He was making money. And then I just fell into the low content trap. But then I transitioned to high content, and then obviously getting reviews is effortless now. And then I can launch books with reviews and have a honeymoon period with a paperback with reviews beforehand. So then it's just so much easier to scale, and Amazon just pushes my book way further. If I publish a paperback book with 100 reviews or even just 50 reviews during the honeymoon period, everything starts scaling a lot faster. Things start to pick up a lot quicker. Everything just works a lot better. Oh, that was the bonus thing, by the way. That honeymoon period was the bonus thing that I want to talk about. So what did we cover until now? We covered 2 main things. You can make a lot more profit without changing your ads if you just publish high content instead of low content. And then you can also make a lot more sales and take advantage of the honeymoon period and have a higher conversion rate. And it's easier to get reviews if you publish high content rather than low content. Now, there's one more thing that I want to talk about before I end this video. And again, very, very important, because I know these are questions that you probably have, because these are the same questions that I had as well. But Barry, what about creating the book? Creating the book is the most important part. When it comes to low content books, then creating is super simple. Creating, you can basically go on AI, make some coloring pages. You can probably hire someone, and it's cheap. You can hire someone cheap to do some illustrations for you. No problem. You can do the book cover yourself on Canva if you want. Again, no problem. This is super, super cheap, super easy, and it doesn't take a lot of time. Really, really simple to create. Now, when it comes to high content, what a lot of people say is that it's expensive. Let's put high content here. They say it's expensive. Why is it expensive? Well, you have to write the book. Either you're going to write it yourself, the writing part, or you're going to hire someone, and that usually costs around $1,000, $1,500 just for the writing. Now, don't click off the video. I'm going to show you a way that you can do this for a lot cheaper. But you usually have to hire someone if you want them to write the book, or you're going to do it yourself. Even if you're not a writer and you don't have the money, you're probably going to have to do it yourself. Or, well, in this case today, you can actually use AI. Now, I know, but Barry, but AI is not quality. No, AI is quality. You can make super high quality books with AI as long as you do it correctly. Most people are just not doing it correctly. Most publishers are not doing it correctly because they've never written a book themselves anyway. Most publishers don't even read books. Does that make any sense? Most publishers don't even read books. They publish books, they publish high content books, but they've never read a book. Well, not never read a book, but they don't read books consistently. Now, there's publishers that do, but there's publishers that don't. Now, when it comes to writing a book, most publishers have never written a book themselves. So then if you take someone who's not a writer and then you ask them to write a book with AI, it doesn't matter if they're writing a book with AI. Doesn't matter if they're writing a book by themselves. They won't know how to write a book because they've never written a book anyway. So if it's their first time writing anyway, whether they use AI or not, it's not going to help them. It's still going to produce a bad book because they are a bad writer in the first place. They don't understand the writing process. They don't understand what it takes to have a quality written book at the end. I've written a bunch of books, by the way. My first book on Amazon KDP, I wrote it myself, took 6 months. Was it a good book? No. Did I learn a lot about the writing process? Absolutely. And then I written another book on a completely different subject. Again, it was the same process. I understood the process. I understood how hard the process is and how difficult it was and what needed to be done and how to have sentence structures and how to link the paragraphs with each other so it's like a better flow. I understood how to write engaging content or engaging writing to keep the reader hooked. Most people, they go on AI and they're like, yo, write me a book. And they gives them a bunch of random paragraphs that's super boring. No one wants to read. And by the way, I'm not just saying this out of nowhere. I've got a private community with my private students. And what I did is I wrote a book completely with AI, and then I uploaded a poll and I asked my students to vote which one of the 3 writings they thought was human. And most of them picked my AI written book as human. Most people thought my AI book was written by a human. That's how you write books with AI. That's what the results should be anyway. If someone can read your book and say, yeah, that's AI, you have not written it correctly. You need to learn how to write books with AI correctly. Now, if you do understand the process and you know how to write books with AI, then great. All you need is a $20 ChatGPT subscription. $20 ChatGPT, you can have a book. And also, like, when I wrote my book, it's like super easy. I wrote it in like 7 days. So now, just with this thing alone, just with a $20 ChatGPT subscription and 7 days, that's it. I have a high content book. And I can also use this subscription to make illustrations for the book, just like I'm going to do for the coloring book. So now, any excuse that you have when it comes to low content, oh, but low content is easier to create, this one's expensive, all of that's gone right now because we have AI. So because we have AI, you have an opportunity now. You watched this video, you made it this far. Well, if you made it this far, well done. Most people, like 99% of people, are not going to make it this far into the video, and you did. You know what that means? That means that you're actually willing to learn something new. You're actually willing to do something new. You're actually willing to take action. Well, guess what? If you've been publishing for like years and months and you still haven't seen the results that you wanted to see, great. If you change what you're doing, your results will change as well. That's what I figured out. I was doing high content, making money. I did low content, wasn't making money. And I went back to high content, started making money. And then now, I'm on YouTube, and every time I talk, I never suggest low content because of my personal experience. Now, if you want to continue doing low content, completely fine. I'm not here to tell you what to do. And you can make money with low content. There's loads of people out there that know what they're doing with low content. They're super, super creative as well. I spoke to them, very creative people. But I'm just saying, if you're a beginner, high content is so much easier for you to make money. It's less effort. Less effort, well, it's just easier to make money because the ads work better. You have higher profit margins, easier to get reviews. I showed you everything in this video. And also, right now with AI, super cheap to make. Now, I know what you're saying, but Barry, how do I make a book with $20 for 7 days? Unfortunately, that's only for my private students. Don't worry, I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm just saying, this is only for my private students. I cannot share with this on YouTube because what's going to end up happening is if I share exactly how I do this on YouTube, the KDP marketplace essentially is going to get flooded with all these high quality AI books, and then we're not going to have an advantage basically. And my students are not going to have an advantage. So then it doesn't even make sense for them to even be my private students if they don't have an advantage. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to conceal how I do this for now anyway, because I want my students to be able to succeed as much as possible with this first, and then I might share it later on in public. I'm not sure. But for right now, it's only for my students. However, I'm telling you it's possible. So even if you don't have it from me, even if you don't want to enroll in my program, completely fine. I'm literally not here to sell you anything. I don't even care if you join or not. I really do not care. What I do care about is that you watch this video and you actually take action. Actually think like, hey, look at your low content. How many are you selling? If it was high content, would you be profitable? If everything was exactly the same, but you were making $7 instead of $3, would you be profitable? The reviews, is it hard for you to get reviews? Great, have you tried high content? Oh, by the way, if you say, but Barry, high content this and high content that, but you've never tried high content, don't say that. Don't talk about high content if you haven't tried it. And also because this is like super easy to do, it's very easy to replicate. Everyone on YouTube, all the gurus on YouTube are promoting low content just because it's easier to do. Supposedly it's easier to do. It is easier to create, but then it's so much harder to make money from. And also the videos get a lot more views on YouTube when it's low content. Obviously, we don't care about views. I don't care about views, but I'm just saying, if all the YouTube gurus are promoting low content to get more views, then great. You're doing the same thing that thousands of other people are doing. And you're competing with more people, so there's more competition. Over here, less publishers are likely to do this. Why? Because most publishers are lazy. They want the easiest way possible, even if that means it's so much harder to make money. The smart publishers are okay with going with this up front, and then it's just easier for them to make money afterwards. I hope this makes sense. I'm not sure if it is making sense, but I hope it makes sense. Anyway, I feel like I was rambling a lot in this video. This is kind of like a rambling video. By the way, I have one more thing to share. Just one more thing before you go. One final thing. So with low content, we have a paperback. Okay, and then with the paperback, we can make money, whether it's $3 or $4, let's say. Let's say you're like, wow, you got a high content, not high content, but you have a higher priced low content book. Well, with high content, first of all, we have the ebook that we're making money from. Then also, if someone clicks on our book, whether it's from ads or whatever, and they can scroll through the formats, we also have the paperback, which is probably going to sell the most. But then some people don't want the ebook, don't want the paperback. Guess what they do want? They want the hardcover, right? And the hardcover usually is higher priced because it's higher quality and you have the hard surface area on the hard book cover, essentially. This can help you make even more money. So you might even have higher profit margins for your hardcover. And by the way, you don't have to promote your hardcover. You can just run ads for your paperback. When someone clicks on your paperback, great, then they can select their format. And also, one final thing, we also have audiobook if you're doing high content, because it's words. With low content, it's just images or lines or activities. You can do a hardcover, but you can't do an audiobook. You rarely do an ebook. So you're missing out on more sales or more formats. There's more opportunities to make money with high content. So it's cheap to create. It's fast to create now with AI if you know how to use it effectively. You have more ways of making money. It's easier to get reviews, and you have a better launch during the honeymoon period. So my question is, why would you publish low content books if high content makes everything else easier? I'm gonna let you think about that yourself. But anyway, I hope you found this video valuable. If you did, you can click on the video that just popped up here. And yep, I guess that's it. Just go out there and make a bunch of money on KDP.